Good night and welcome to part 2 of episode 1 of season 2 of Cut Deep. Last week we had a very exciting show and this week we wrap it up with our guest Julio Sam Henry. This week we will be even hotter as we tackle major issues affecting this territory. Cut Deep is an interactive platform cutting through the noise and political rhetoric. It is raw, uncut, challenging you to think critically. What do the issues mean for us? What part do we play? It is a platform that will move the Virgin Islands toward unified, integrated success. Cut Deep Season 2 will be featured on 284 Media on Tuesdays from 8 to 9 p.m. This month, we're acknowledging Breast Cancer and Domestic Violence Awareness Months. We will also acknowledge spina bifida awareness. There is a demon that haunts us. It creeps into our homes, into our relationships, and it destroys our lives. Where love once lived, darkness now occupy. Uncertainty, fear, despair, and broken souls. Men, women, and children live this nightmare every single day. Some with no relief in sight, others meet their demise. When violent abuse comes from someone who has promised to love and protect you, it can be a terrifying shock. For some victims, this initially unexpected behavior is simply written off. It is seen as a one-time thing. Once it starts to become a recurring problem, however, unfortunately, sometimes excuses are still made or those affected are fully aware of the issue but feel as though they have nowhere else to go. Domestic violence includes any number of attacks on a person with whom the attacker has an intimate or familial relationship. The most commonly understood version includes a husband forcefully striking his wife, but this conduct is only one aspect of the crime. Domestic violence is a pattern of behavior used by one intimate partner against another to maintain, gain, or regain power in the relationship. It can involve any individual or combination of physical, sexual, and psychological attacks, as well as economic coercion. The conduct can be with anyone living in the same home that is related by blood or marriage. The term can even include people in a dating relationship. If you are afraid of your partner or someone related to you, chances are you are the victim of some form of domestic violence. Abusers share behaviors that are designed to control or intimidate. These often include accusation of infidelity, blaming you for the abuse, criticizing you frequently, keeping you from accessing cash or credit cards, tracking all of your spending, preventing you from working, keeping close track of where you are and who you are with, embarrassing you in front of others, preventing you from eating, sleeping, or getting medical attention, forcing you to have sex, physically punching, pushing, or kicking you. Once again, welcome to Season 2 of Cut Deep. We will take a short break and be right back.
Right now, many people are trapped in their homes with an abuser. This is the shadow pandemic. In one weekend, calls to domestic abuse helplines in the UK went up by 65%. In the US, Asia, and pretty much everywhere, reported numbers are rising. These aren't just numbers, they're people you might know. If you think someone is in trouble, check in on them. Ask them if they're okay and if everything at home is okay. Educate yourself about domestic violence. Know the details of local services like helpline numbers or shelters. If she tells you or you suspect that her life or the lives of her children are in immediate danger, call the protection units or the police. The shadow pandemic is spreading right now. Let's help each other safely right now.
Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 1, Part 2 of Cut Deep. My guest tonight, Julio Sam Henry, and I are breaking down the issues facing the territory over the past few months. We started last week, and we're going to wrap it up this week. Before we get into the discussion for tonight, I want to recognize and celebrate the sponsors of the second season. Blossoms Florist for my beautiful table decor, and McKelly's Beauty Salon for my hair and makeup. And we're gonna jump right into it, and we're gonna kick it off. Sam, we took a short break last week, or we ended last week speaking on the governor's decision on bringing back the ships. Let's pick right back up from there. This particular subject is going to be pretty big because it's going to lead us into such things as the letter to the Baroness, constitutional review, where we are with that, more autonomy, independence, Claude Skelton-Klein, good governance legislation. Let's just touch on all of it with this one topic, since I think we're going to be dealing with the UK and, you know, our relationship with them, etc. So let's start there. We were trying to wrap up on, you know, the governor's decision on bringing back the ship, and then I guess we can go on to the Premier's letter in reference to that.
Well, first of all, good night to everyone again. Thanks for watching, supporting the show. Cindy, like I said before, now that the ship is here, I think the Premier needs to take time and utilize it the best he can. You have some national security issues. If they're there, the ship can help you provide training, support in technology and so forth. Let's just go ahead and do that. I'm all for that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be sitting around anymore fighting the fight. The governor has the authority. He make the decision based on his assessment. It's written in the Constitution. So
use it to the best of our ability.
So use it to the best of your ability. I also would say, in addition to that, the fact that the Premier and the governor and whoever else sits in the Security Council, as the leader of the country, I also think his wishes or his decision should be respected. You know what I mean? As the leader of the country.
Do you think it's a matter of that is not being respected, or at some point, you know, maybe the governor reeled it all in and said, well, what's going on doesn't make any sense?
Well, again, this is my opinion. And I've been following politics now for a good while in the BVI. And I noticed that every time the Virgin Islands Party government gets in power, and this goes back to Ralph O'Neill as well, there always seems to be some fighting with the overseas government, with the UK, the FCO. And I support, and I can continue to support, the Virgin Islands mandate, their approach to independent self-governance.
The Virgin Islands or the Virgin Islands Party administration?
Well, it takes
it's two different things.
It takes the Virgin Islands Party leadership to push against what we believe, what I believe, is sort of overreaching by the overseas office, by the governor's office. Every governor that comes here.
But we haven't identified any overreaching.
We have. Can
you identify some for me?
Of course. We've seen one where the last governor dipped his hand in the Treasury because he believed that he has the right and
but he does have the power to do so.
He does, and we're not taking that away from him.
But okay, so it's the same thing with the governor deciding to bring back the ship, right? It's not overreaching.
It is.
He's working within the powers of his office, so you can't say that it's overreaching.
I understand that, but at the same time, he is privy to the same information that the leader of the country is privy to.
Correct.
What makes his decision, overreaching decision, to bring back the ship more important than that of the leader of the country?
Because if you're saying to your motherland that you don't have money and you need money for all these things that are going to happen, and they have physical things that you can use.
I don't know.
I would
haven't
try to
seen-
reel certain things in if I was in the position of the governor as well.
I haven't seen anywhere where the premier or the leader of this country tell the UK they don't have money to secure the borders. As a matter of fact,
No, it wasn't money to particularly secure the borders, but money for assistance during this COVID situation, which is all-inclusive for us.
To help the people. But when it comes to national security and border security, the premier made it clear he had it covered.
But he's not in charge of national security. And he didn't have it covered.
He shares a responsibility in national security. He sits on
He shares the responsibility, but it's not his portfolio.
Well, in a way, it is his portfolio. It is his responsibility, first and foremost, to secure the territory, to secure the people.
But there was some failure there.
You say so. I don't know what the failures are. Again, the governor using his discretion to say that there's failures there. Where's the failures? Then the governor should have come out and give us what he believed to be a failure and why.
Sam, the premier came out and he told us there was some failure at the border and they needed extra enforcement to secure it even further.
And he took,
based on the young man, I don't know if he was young or no, the gentleman that smuggled in or whatever happened there, right? So the premier told us that. Mm-hmm. The governor didn't have to come. The premier, in his job and portfolio, he told us that.
Well,
and he said he was going to do some further things, I'm not cutting you off, some further things to strengthen the border. Now, if the mandate for securing or national security is within the governor's portfolio, and he says, well, I can do this. You don't need to do this. You don't need outside sources, outside of the government, to secure our national borders.
So
how can you
So the government
mm-hmm.
has taken several steps in the last 8 months. We see where they have a joint task force. We see where they enlisted the help of contractors mm-hmm. to provide radar protection and so forth. We've seen a beefed up in our security on land and on sea. So again, the government, the Virgin Islands Party government, had taken steps based on the information that he and the governor shares. In his opinion, there was no need for the ship. And again, I'm going to go back to the ship again. The ship is here, I say use it. But at the same time, if it's a need for the ship security, no. Border security, no. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen in November? What's going to happen in December? What's going to happen in January? Is the governor going to continue to provide security?
But,
or is he going to use?
I love this.
Or is he going to use this opportunity? Because I would really like to see now that the governor sees and make the decision that we need more security, we need more protection, and obviously he's been sitting and communicating with the police chief. We need training, we need technology. Why haven't he taken a step to ensure that we get those things in place before and now?
Well, now for me, from the outside looking in, all of this funding normally comes from the government purse.
Yes.
Normally.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. It has never really been a priority for us.
Okay.
Because we've had customs, we said it in the last show, we've had customs and immigration down to one boat each for a very long time. And this is across administration. So I'm not necessarily blaming the VIP administration for where we are in terms of border security. Okay? But what I'm saying is, you're saying the premier had it under control. But you can't have something under control if you have to enlist outside contractors.
But we haven't. Hold on. The government did not. The
Yes,
government did not
you
enlist
just,
outside.
Sam,
No.
you just said that. You just said
When
that.
I said outside, I meant outside of government itself.
That's what we're talking about. I don't mean
the private contracts of BV Islanders based here. They're not from outside.
Sam, you guys have to get over where you think that we're some independent country. Yes, eventually maybe we might get there, but at this point
that's
we're not.
another conversation.
And if the UK says, you belong to me, I'm going to save you some money and send you down a couple of ships, then and if the governor feels like I'm going to do that as the head of national security, then that's what he's going to do.
Well, then, if that's...
And there isn't anything wrong with that. You've said that yourself.
Hold on. Well, then if that's the mindset of the overseas office, then based on the Constitution, the governor could make a decision on every department in government.
But
Over
he can. But he can. But
So-
they have not made it
so-
a habit of overriding any government.
Because we supposed
fair.
because we're supposed to have a autonomous government where we're supposed to be able to run our own affairs, run our country. The elected persons in this country should have a right to make their own decision based on the decision of the people. So if we can't run our country, if we can't make our own decision, then why are we electing these members every year? Why are we even electing them? Why we just let the governor run everything?
I mean, if we go there, that's a whole conversation that
Well,
could take up the
that's
whole show.
based on what you just said. Based on what you just said.
We kind of need to get from voting for people that we like and our friends and have no absolute clue.
Regardless of how you
no
select them.
absolute clue.
This is the
Maybe if we
process.
can go from there to here, we wouldn't have interference by the UK.
No, it doesn't matter.
But,
Wait, hold on,
I want
hold
to
on.
point out that I've never seen the UK overstep here, at least, without the people being okay with it. The people made a noise when the governor said, you know, the premier didn't want the ship. The people were like, well, why doesn't, you know, the premier want the ship? It doesn't make sense. I can guarantee you, I don't know as facts, I'm going to say that he did not do that without the comfort of knowing that the people supported his move.
So my question again.
So when the government is operating on their own without even where the people want to be or care to be or what the people say, that's not democracy either. Because if we elect you, we're telling you what we want, but you think you as a person or an 8-member government can do what you want, then yes, maybe forcefully we'll talk to the governor, and if he sees the opportunity or thinks that a decision can be made here, he too is making it in the best interest of the people.
He is?
Absolutely. And until you can show me hard evidence where he's not, then...
Well, he's not.
Because I'm 47.
He's
Am
not.
I 47?
He's not making a decision in the best interest of the people.
He
because
did. He
was-
saved our money, some money.
He's not making...
and-
He's not making the best interest of the people. He's not an elected member of this government, so he can't be representing the people. He represents the Queen. The governor says it themselves. In their mandate, they represent the Queen and the crown. They don't represent
okay, if you
us.
want to get technical, when
but they
all guys
don't.
go in, who did they pledge allegiance to?
They pledge
Since we
allegiance-
want to get
They
technical.
pledge allegiance to the Queen.
So then they're working in the best interest of the Queen.
They work on behalf
Are
of
they
the
working
people.
in the...
No, they're not working in the best
okay.
interest of the Queen.
The Queen, the governor,
That's just
the
formality.
governor and our House of Assembly pledge allegiance to the Queen when they get into office.
They're not
so I'll
represent-
say the people are on the back burner anyway.
not representing
so
the
I don't
Queen.
see why
They
you can
represent the
sit
people of this
here
country.
and say that the government is doing what's in the best interest of the people, which a lot
The
of us
people who
know
elected
there's
them,
some
the
shakiness there.
majority rule, and that's who they represent. The few people that are complaining are the same people who were there before, who said they were representing the people.
Sam, that's
they
a
lost.
flake out.
They lost the
Sam,
man.
that's a flake out.
They lost their right. They lost their right, and they're the
I'm
one.
complaining and I voted for this government.
I don't know that.
I'm telling you.
I
I voted for other people, but I
next time-
voted for them
next
overwhelmingly.
time-
I encourage other people to vote for them overwhelmingly. There are a lot of people in this country that are disheartened by the way this government is functioning. You know it, and if you think that that is a fib, then you're just not genuine. You're not here for the
think the
territory
gov- I
either.
think
So
the
that's
gov-
why the country, us as a people, step up, and wherever we can get relief, we're going to do that.
Well, then you're working for the other side. You're
I'm
not
working for the people.
If you were working for the people and the people working along with you, then you would have more communication with
But
the
that's
government.
why the ships are here.
No, the ships are here because people, certain persons in this
Because
country.
there was enough disgruntlement.
Okay, so the ship is here. The ship is here
Yes,
for
so let's not
October.
fight about the ship.
The ship is here for October. Do the people want the ship here November, December, January, February? What's going to happen in those times when we need the ship year round? Are we going to be able to get it year round?
Tam, I don't think the people necessarily want the ship here year round.
So they just want it now for what
The people were
reason?
interested in getting the situation with COVID under grips.
But
that was
this
it.
is a
if
fluid
the UK could have
situation.
helped us at that point, and if they go And if they have to come back, okay. Or the government can just decide to put some money, maybe $1 million, into beefing up our security, getting
So
more
the government-
boards, devices or whatever. Maybe we can think about that.
So the government
Maybe
should
$1
do
million bucks could.
So the government in the
Go a
future
long
should
way.
do exactly what they already have planned to do. But in the meantime,
We're not talking about plans because this could have happened from a long time. And like I say, I'm not necessarily blaming the VIP administration alone for the situation with the borders. I just feel like as a territory, it is not something that's important enough to us. That's why we're in this situation today.
yeah, I think we have a continuous situation going on in the BVI. You know, looking at what the police commissioner said, and he's new. He's only been here, 3 years, going on 4. We've had the same complaints from past commissioners where we have a situation in the BVI. We have individuals. You blame the government on one side, and I'm also going to put personal responsibility on us
Of course.
as citizens. We have citizens in this country who are part of the problem
Of course
and
they
not
are.
the solution to the problem. So we
Of
continue.
course they are.
So we continue.
I agree
We
with
continue
you.
to blame the governments, whichever government, and I'm not talking about VIP government too,
Just-
because the
we
last
talk about
government got a lot of blame.
governments.
Yeah,
Yes.
the last government got a lot of blame. When the blame should be going on us as citizens of this country. We're the ones doing the violation.
Sam, if your son, right, he wants to do something, right, and you let him get away with it, who is to blame? In your house.
Well, if you want to talk about my son, I'll tell you.
No, in your house.
In my house.
What would you do?
Listen carefully,
I'm
because this is
listening.
clear. Some of you gonna say this ain't true, but I'll give you factual information that actually happened. My son has been talked to several times. Don't steal. Try not to lie. Try to be as straight as you can. He got caught stealing one time, a few years ago. His mother called me, begging, pleading, blah blah. I said no. Put the police on the phone. Keep him, lock him up. That's my stance. You know the right thing, do the right thing.
Okay, so at the end of the day,
I ain't bailing you out.
Wonderful.
And I'm going to blame
so let
him.
me tell you something.
I'm going to
then.
blame him the same way I'm going to blame those who are violating the borders.
You did your job. You did your job.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Sam,
Yeah.
we know
Yeah.
that all governments, and when I say governments, I'm not saying just like the members of the House.
Yeah.
You know, the government is a huge moving thing.
Yes.
There are kind of leakages in there.
Yes.
Things can't happen just like that.
Yeah. I understand,
Okay?
but
So
this
if
government,
if I'm doing criminal activity and I'm being allowed to do it,
But you can't say that.
I am
though.
going to blame the top
But
first.
you can't say that. The premier of this country, current premier of this country, a few months ago when we had one of our first lockdown, when we had put in one of our first COVID, whatever,
March.
came on public news on TV and pleaded with BVI landlords. He said, please don't smuggle. Please stay at bay. Please follow the rules. They put the custom and the task force out to help monitor the borders.
Barely.
It doesn't matter. They put measures in place to curb the problem. And who went and violated? The very first week, we had 2 individuals got caught coming in here smuggling people into this country.
In March?
So I said the very first time we had our first lockdown. I don't know,
Well,
it
we
was
had our
March,
first-
April, May, June.
When the guy smuggled, then that was like our 3rd lockdown.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
during that time.
Okay.
But again, it shows where the government and the system was.
But you know before, the blow up only came because that guy actually had COVID.
The blood only came because we
Because
finally...
people were coming in all the time.
Yeah,
apparently.
but we weren't catching
There
them
were-
because the
we-
smugglers
I-
are more,
that's how you feel.
the
That's how you
smugglers
feel.
are more
Look, I
sophisticated than the
feel
police.
How I feel is if this guy did not bring in a case of COVID, I don't think all this hoopla would have mattered. It would not have happened. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
So it's okay. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was going to
Yeah.
take a break, but I'll let you say something.
No, take a break and we'll come right back.
We'll be right back.
The win. Oh!
What are the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is time.
Ep.1 News.
Coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands.
What's poppin', what's really good, what's happening, what's up?
Well, I'm smiling and laughing as we're back because my guest over here, during the break, he's still going in at me and, he's telling me when he's going to let me slide and when he's not going to let me slide. So we're going to jump right back into it because we want to cover quite a bit in this hour that we're doing. This is probably the last show that I'm going to have Sam on for the season. Hopefully not, but we have quite a lineup, but I'll see if I can fit him back in because he's quite the guest. Sam, I'm going to move off of the ship a bit. I don't know if you want to touch on the Baroness's letter. The Premier's letter to the Baroness. I don't know if you want to talk about that. We could dive into our constitutional review or things that maybe might be beneficial for Virgin Islanders in the Constitution, in the new Constitution, more autonomy, possible independence, good governance legislations. Let's go with that. How did you feel about the letter that the Premier actually did for the Baroness?
I heard
do that real quickly.
I heard the letter, I read it. Again, for anybody that's doubting where I stand, I am in line with the philosophies and the ideas that this government is pushing.
Okay.
When it comes to more autonomy, I would like to see the language in the Constitution completely change, where it reflects real ownership, real control of who we are as a people in our direction. I don't want to see any more document that tells me that I'm basically a manager, and if the boss above don't like what I'm saying or doing based on what he believes to be the right direction, he can come in at any time and change that format. I don't want that anymore. A free people ain't supposed to live like that. A true partnership, you and I in a relationship, there's a compromise. There's a real conversation about left or right. We don't have that. That's not in our Constitution. So those who believe that people like myself or Claude or whoever is telling you to go and read it for yourself, take time and examine the document. It is not a free-spirited, free people document. It does not promote independence. It promotes submission. Look at it. It's there. All the areas in the Constitution. And again, I understand the whole philosophy behind we being part of the UK. In actuality, we're not. We're not part of the UK. We're managed and subject to the UK. Because if we were really part of the UK, we would be, in my opinion, another county, another state, where you have real representation. Every single thing that our government does, our elected members of government do in this country, is subject to the approval of the governor. Everything. Some might want to deny that, but everything they do, every decision, every major international decision they decide to make. You invite people to this country, another head of state, it has to be approved by the governor or the FCO. You want to make change within your civil servants, it's subject to the opinion of the governor.
Is it?
Of course, when
I say is it, I know, I think some things are just technical, but go ahead.
Yeah, we understand all the technicalities, but those things, to me, again, does not promote freedom, free people, free-spirited, free-thinking people. It does not. There's no way in the world you could tell me. I was reading a piece from Barbados the other day. That's not to go out, but, the fact that they are now pushing a republic. You have persons coming from England saying, oh, they're only thinking that way because of others, China or others influence their decision. As if the people there are not intellectually smart enough to make their own decision. One person, a well-known writer in Barbados, asked the question, what really are we getting by having the Queen as head of our state? What are you saying to a young person, a young male or female, Bayesian descent? What are you telling them? You have a government that's supposed to be independent. They make their own decision. They've been, as far as I'm concerned, Barbados has been doing very well.
Barbados is doing it. Yes, I recognize.
So it's a
Barbados
model
is one
that
of
we
the
could.
major Caribbean
It's a
islands
model
that's
that
doing
we
well.
could follow. Why shouldn't we be given that opportunity? As a matter of fact, before we get off this,
Okay.
just recently at the United Nations, there was about 7 keynote speakers, some Caribbean, some African, and I tell you, I think Grenada, just not to say the wrong thing, but I believe it was Grenada representative, had a beautiful speech. And one other person from one of the African countries spoke about the mandate within the United Nations Charter that every country that was once a colony should be set free. That's where we need to be going. We don't need to be, and if in the future, if we become an independent state and we want the help of the governor, we will decide. Not you decide based on what you think is best for us.
So I think that from discussions out in the street, because you know how we do everywhere, people are talking. You know, wherever you stop, people want to have a conversation, coffee shop, taxi stand, wherever.
I get it all the time.
Yeah, so I don't think that people actually have a problem with us seeking more autonomy.
I don't
right?
know.
Does the constitutional review. You see, Sam, I think that you should be honest in yourself, and when people have conversation with you on what they are saying. At least I try to do that. I try to open my mind to understand what they're saying to me. And what I'm hearing isn't that they have a problem with more autonomy, okay? Or that they have a problem with independence per se. But how are we going to get there? What is the platform? What is the foundation that we will start to move there? Because, I mean, this is a conversation that's been having forever. Are we ever going to go independent? And what is that going to look like, right? I can't say that I've ever seen any of the governments, whether it's Ralph government or whoever, prepare us. How are they preparing us to even think that we can take on such a big thing? I'm going to say thing. Do you feel that we're being prepared for that?
Well, Cindy, I know where you want to go with this, and I'll say this.
No, I don't want, I'm genuinely asking, I don't want to go anywhere with it because the country, let me not say country, they say this is a territory. The territory is very tuned into this conversation about where the BVI is going. You have Claude Skelton, and he's ranting every single show that he has about independence and when we're going to be independent. And that puts people's nerves on edge because they see him as a mouthpiece for the government and is he for the VIP administration. And the conversation is that what they're doing internally? Is that what they're thinking internally? Because this administration doesn't talk to the people. So you're in a position where you're wondering what is going on. Okay? Is he speaking for the government?
Well,
when you hear Claude say, oh, we want to be free or independent by 2024. Really? So what is the plan for that? That's all I'm saying. People want to understand how we're going to get from here to here. And I know it's going to start with more autonomy. And it's going to start with what we're going to put in the new constitution when we're doing the constitutional review. Again, with the constitutional review, I think the VIP said that they would usher in a new constitution in this term, right? So we haven't really heard anything. I know we're really consumed with COVID and what's going on with that, but we're not hearing anything. A committee was supposed to be set up. We haven't heard anything. If this committee was set up, who's on the committee? Are they going to come out to the people? We just don't know anything. And these are some of the things that scare people when you start talking about independence. There's a platform. There's a foundation that needs to be built for our comfort, for us to start thinking in that way. The people are not going to think that way unless you start giving them that comfort. That is what I'm feeling when they speak to me. I don't know what you feel.
That ain't what I get.
They also feel that there's no way that they're going to even consider independence under the past administration or under this administration. I don't know what administrations are there to come,
Yeah.
but That's what I'm getting. What are
Yeah.
you getting?
Well, what I know from history, changes only come when you have agitators. The agitators is who push everything forward. And there are always going to be conservatives, people in the background who are simply saying, no, that ain't where I'm at. They're comfortable where they
Absolutely.
are.
Absolutely.
They love, again, having a monarchy over their head. They feel it's the best way, it is the best protection.
It gives them comfort because our past governments haven't given us comfort.
I understand that too, and I'm not going to knock that. I agree with you on that. My statements in the past is that I going to support independence, yes, when some of those foundations are laid out. Some of the basic things, and I'm going to encourage the government. I am on board for whatever the changes are ahead. I too want to know what we are looking for, because I've seen where there's sort of different ideas that was pushed when they first had the sitting in the House to introduce the whole concept of the constitutional review. So I would first like to see all of them on the same page. I know most of the people like myself, I'm in agreement with what they're pushing forward. I know the Premier, I heard him say something in the House about what the people is looking for, the people that he's talking to, the people that are supporting his agenda, and his agenda is the same as my agenda. I want independence. I want freedom. I don't want to be governed and controlled by anyone else overseas. I think we're here too long with that type of governance.
But you know, this is a decision that the people will have to make, right?
Yes, so the decision that
so
the people...
it's not a decision that the Premier is going to decide on, his 8 people, 9 of them on the government side.
All 13.
They are not going to decide for the people.
Yeah.
It has to be done in referendum form. The people will decide by vote if that is where we want to go. And if it fails, then that is not what the people want.
What form does the Constitution provide us? What do we currently have right now?
I'm not sure. You tell me. I know you way up on the Constitution than me.
I like the referendum thing. Nothing wrong with that. That will have to be constituted. You have to put that in place so the people will have that greater voice. Part of that...
No, I think it's in the Constitution now. Any changes that the people want to make in government or for the country, you could do so by a referendum.
Okay, well, I haven't read that part yet. But again, I would support it. That's not a problem.
So that's why I said the people had to decide. This can't be something that they're going to decide in the House, whether it's the 9 of them or 13 of them decide to cast a vote. It can't work like that.
I understand.
It's not going to work like that.
But we have to push it. We have to push forward. We can't sit around and continue to say, listen to some who say, oh, it ain't the right way. We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that. Why shouldn't we?
Well, I don't condone the conversation about not doing something. What is the reason for not doing it, or what is the reason for doing it, and what, again, like I said, what is the foundation on which we're going to start to move or form to, move towards independence if that's what the people want. But at the end of the day, I think the first step is going to have to be a referendum to decide whether the people want independence or not. Yeah. And if it does come back that it's a yes, then that's the first start. Okay, the people want it, how are we going to do it?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I want the government to do is complete this constitutional review.
Do you see it happening before the term is over?
Not with the COVID situation. Not if we tackle it. If they're tackling the COVID situation in the manner in which they're doing it. I'm not saying it's bad. It's slow.
It is slow.
That's going to occupy a lot of the time that you would need to put towards the constitutional review.
Yeah. To be fair, the COVID situation is slow because you can make some plans here, and in 2 months, you're back to square one.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's no fault of the government. It's all because it's a fluid situation. Yeah. Things are likely to change. So, I mean, whatever plan you put out now, like you said, can change next week.
Something can happen. Because I think the Bahamas is going into their 3rd lockdown.
Bahamas going into their 3rd lockdown, but they also now revamped their opening plan.
Yeah. Well, they've opened twice before.
Yes.
So now they're locking down a 3rd time. Yeah. Yeah. So they have to revamp again. So I'm saying it does happen.
Of course.
Bermuda is doing a really great job. Did you see?
Yeah, but Bermuda, market is small. It's not a huge market.
64,000 people.
Yeah, the market is small. I mean,
So you can compare here, Bermuda, Cayman,
yeah. Well,
in terms of what they're doing. I think Bermuda took a risk. The people were feeling the same way we were feeling. Don't open. They put a plan together.
That's right.
And it's giving dividends now.
Yeah.
Their tourism product is on the rebound. So we'll see what happens for us.
Well, I think some of the plans that the government is putting in place is calculated. I would probably reduce some of their waiting time, knowing me. I would probably, allow others outside of a sort of a small bubble to be able to visit the BVI. You know what I mean? That's me.
I'm not shutting you down because that's another conversation that we want to have based on what we saw came out after the last show. But let's just go back to the constitutional review, because what are some of the things, if you can tell our audience, some of the things that you think
Some of the changes I want to see in the Constitution.
Yeah.
Long story short, pretty much everything.
Okay. I don't know how to argue with you.
Pretty
with
much
that.
everything.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that can change. One of the things that I would like to see put into that document is an easier way to remove a government. I think that 4 years is a long time.
I wouldn't say easier way, but a process.
An easier way,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
clearer as to, and I'm not talking to this to say that the government needs removing, but I'm saying that there must be an easier way, or even to remove a district rep, because I think 4 years is a long time if a government is failing to sit and just allow the government, we'll wait for the next 4 years to vote. A lot can happen. It costs the country a lot to sit around with a government that's not working. Because quite often, governments go in and they just do a switcheroo on you, and unexpected. It's not what you voted for, and there's nothing you can do about it besides, I can't wait for the next 4 years.
Yeah, but I think that's sort of a selfish point of view from any individual. The governments, all of the parties, when they decide to go out and campaign, they all put out their own little what do you call those, manifesto or whatever. And you as a voter know what they are selling. You know what they are promising.
There's a difference in what they're selling in their
Hold on.
manifestos and their behavior as individual representatives of the people.
Yeah, but within that manifesto, you can almost characterize what you believe would be a strong approach for the BVI governance, or like you said, a failing approach. So the government who is elected by the majority of this country, and they should be given the right to fulfill their mandates and given a right to finish their term. No, if in between you feel you and the majority know, like we said, majority rule, based on whatever process is put in place, feels like this government isn't doing the right thing, then yeah, go ahead. File your claim, whatever you have to do to try to fault the government. But to just get up and say, well, this government ain't doing good a year and a half later because you are unhappy with the decision they're making when
But if there's if more people are unhappy than happy, then these questions start coming up. You don't get friction from one person or two people being unhappy.
Yeah, but I hear a
Right?
few people complain, right? I hear a few people complain, and then when I look at the people who are complaining, you really have to wonder if they have the country's best interests at heart.
Okay, I agree with you. There are some of them, but you cannot sum up the disgruntlement of the country right now to those who supported a past party. You just can't, and you shouldn't do it. However,
no, but there's people.
one
I'm not
of the
saying that. No, hold on. I'm not saying.
This is the second time
but I'm
you're
not
saying it, though.
that. No. There are people who supported this government, this party, who are unhappy. I know that for a fact.
A lot.
I can't say what a lot is, but there are people who are unhappy.
A lot.
And some of those same people, again, are unhappy. Either they're not benefiting personally, or B, they are now switching side because they agree with somebody else. So we have to be careful. We have to be very careful. Because a lot of people out here, Cindy, let's be real, a lot of people out here, when you really talk to some of these people, really ask yourself, do these people really have the best interests of this country at heart? Just ask them, do they care about you? If something is happening in West End, it's affecting the community in West End, do those same people voice their concern to you that what's happening in West End is wrong because it could affect the East? Or
well,
if
you want to have that discussion,
or do you only hear from them when it comes to the East and start to affect them?
No, the multitude of people that speak to me or you sit in conversation around with the disgruntlement they're concerned about the territory. Territory-wide.
You really
yes,
believe that?
That's how they speak to me. I don't know how they speak to you or who are the people that you interact with. I don't know. But that's the people that are talking to me. And I'm going to say that, yes, there are people here that are, and we that's how we train them. We've trained them to be that way. They're very self-centered. But there are a lot of people that are concerned for the direction of the territory in general. We don't want to run out of time. We've covered independence. We can talk about good governance really quickly. One of the things for me in terms of setting up the BVI to even have a thought of autonomy or independence is our good governance legislations, which we're totally failing on. I want to touch on our financial position as you see it all, but we're going to take a quick break and come right back.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, you enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Over there. You must have cut fun topic.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Welcome back to the show. We're going to try to wrap up within the next 10 minutes. And so we still have a few things to dive into, and we're going to try and do it as fast as we can. Sam, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move away from, I really want to touch on the border reopening. I want to go back to that because some things came out since the show that we did last Tuesday. So I really want to touch on that. Some things were but put out, dripped out to the territory on how the opening or what the opening can look like. The premier talks about maybe 4 days, possibly 4 days in quarantine. Only the airport being open. What else was there? Testing maybe twice and then you're free to go. What are your thoughts on those? Well, what we're hearing so far.
Well, I'll tell you what I did, and I could brag about myself, what I did. When I heard about it the next day, I wrote the premier and a couple others a nice little letter requesting or asking whether or not the wider taxi fraternity, all of the taxi men, not me,
We'll be able to
but
go to the
all of them
airport.
would be able to join force with the B-filing taxi men them in order to facilitate the flow of business, to make sure that we all are incorporated in that idea. I got some kickback even from men from B-filing, you know what I mean, who don't...
Can I tell you something? I had a conversation on that same thing maybe 2 weeks ago. A taxi guy, I was speaking to a taxi guy, and they mostly do cruise tourism. And he was saying to me, what if the premier comes back and one of the criteria for opening is through the airport? I said, well, then I think that would be a great opportunity for the taximen in the territory to finally unite. I said, you're going to get some pushback from those guys up at the airport, but for everybody to eat, if that happens, you're going to have to
Well, Cindy,
Unite.
I have that in writing, suggesting exactly that. And I got some pushback from some of the men from tax beef island who don't understand, who can't see ahead, who can't think about all the logistics that are involved, that are going to be needed
Correct.
in order to
And
move.
it's only a few of them up there.
There's a handful.
Yeah.
There's a handful. They claim they already had it under control. No, there's no way in the world. When you start moving 100 people in 100 different directions, and then using all of the protocols that are going to be necessary to help facilitate all these different people, all these different movements, you need to join force. So I'm humbly asking the Premier and his team to consider that, because they have done, I thought they've done a good job so far with the park and ride. They incorporated all the different guys. It didn't matter where you're from, where you live, where you work. Usually anybody could come and be a part of that. So use that same concept. Now, on the opening thing, this is what the Premier said. This is what's in the paper. The 4-day quarantine. Now, it is my understanding you're utilizing beef island because it has some of what you need, and you could add easier to what you need more of. You have the spacing, you have some of these other things they're going to be putting in there. This is what I understand. If that's the case, no problem. I ain't got no problem with that. But the 4-day tells me that you're looking at a certain market. You're looking at a certain demographic. I've seen the chamber spoke about it and support that. The Premier and the government spoke about that. The last government, that's always been their focus. Now we have somebody on another talk show says we need to define our tourism or market. Well, I want to be clear for those who don't understand. I ain't no expert, but this is my understanding. Our tourism market has already been defined by those who come here. We have sailors, and people don't know, sailors are budgeted travelers. They pool their money. I'm talking about charter yacht companies now. Many of those people are people who pool their money together to rent a yacht, their friends, and they split the cost. A yacht costs $6,000-7,000 a week. One person ain't normally paying the bill. They're combining. We have persons who are Airbnbs who are looking for a better deal. They're budget travelers. We have the high-end travelers, people who have their private jets and all of those stuff. I ain't knocking nobody. So if we're going to open up, we got to think about the wider economy. Where does the wider economy make its money from? And for you out there, I ain't talking about no cruise ship. I'm not mentioning anything about cruise ship. I benefit, and a lot of my taxi guys benefit from what's happening around the territory.
Right.
It doesn't matter if they're staying over in King Garden Bay, they're staying in Long Bay, they're staying in East End, they're staying in Lower State on an Airbnb. Once they're tourists, we all will benefit because the movement of people is what supports the economy. So
do you think that just having the airport alone though can carry the weight of, you see, I don't expect all of our tourists to return at once. They're not. But the truth is there is a large number of persons looking to travel back to the territory. We may start off at half, quarter, you don't know. But there are hundreds, like you said, our tourism product is diversified and it's proven based on who come in, right? Most of the people that go out on the charter yacht, they come through St. Thomas, okay? Hundreds of them per day.
a lot, yeah.
Hundreds of them per day, okay? Even if that's cut down, you're still gonna be somewhere in the hundreds per day, right? I'm assuming that more information is gonna come out from the Premier as to an ABC plan as to exactly how it will all work. But for me, I'm looking in, and coming through the airport, you have 9 and 15 seaters coming from St. Thomas to, you're not gonna get the people in here.
Well, again,
You're not gonna get the people in here.
You're right.
And then you're telling me that I have to pay $168 each way from St. Thomas to Beef Island. You're telling me I'm gonna have to quarantine when I get here, right? On top of that, quarantine maybe for 4 days. So you're eating into my vacation, but I'm gonna think on somewhere else I can possibly go. that is
Well,
easier or within my budget.
You're right. You're right. The budget travelers, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Sam,
Wait,
no,
let me
no,
finish this thought.
no. You said the budget travelers, but everybody counts their money. There's something in the BVI, and I talk about it already. We feel like millionaires and billionaires don't count their money. They count every penny. That's why not some don't pay any taxes into this territory. They get everything for free. They're always, trying to find a deal. And they have lots of money. But that's how even millionaires, they count their pennies. They count their money.
Yes, but again, what I'm trying to say is this. The government, based on the plan that they're putting out, or the pre-plan they're putting out, is focusing on those same people who are not budget travelers. Those same people who are most likely going to pay $10,000 a week to stay out of oil, not pay.
But they're not even going to use your taxis.
I know. I'm getting to that.
It's a charter,
I'm getting to that. This is why I believe whatever is coming through, whatever comes through, in addition to those so-called high-end travelers, that the rest of the taximen could benefit from the others. This plan is not designed for the wider tourism economy. It's not designed for the budget traveler that go into the moorings or Sunsail. It's designed for those who are coming in these high-end places, who are going to come in on their jets, So this is what they're pushing out. It's not pushing out.
You see, but there's a contradiction. Okay? It's being opened up in general, okay? The focus may appear to be, because they're going through the airport, the high-enders, they'll come in on their own jets anyway. The target is also the charter and bareboats, and they do not come through on jets.
Yeah, but the charter and bareboat, like you said, most of those people, if the screening process is too stringent, they're not going to come. So most likely you're only going to get those who can afford to come in on a private jet, who can come in on a charter plane.
So what are you saying, that we should not open?
So what I'm saying, you and I are basically saying the same thing, but in a different way. I don't want to condemn the system. I'm not going to condemn the system. I'm simply saying that people need to open up their eyes. That's all I'm saying. I would prefer to have the ferry service open to persons coming through St. Thomas, because that's where the bulk of our tourists do come through.
Can I tell you what? He isn't going to have a choice.
Well, I know.
The government is not.
I know it's going to change.
And this is Cindy speaking as an individual person, knowing the connections to this territory.
Yeah, I understand.
Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, even Virgin Islanders and others living in St. Thomas and St. John, a lot of the market for just Van Dyke and Anegada to come through on the boats. The seaports are going to have to open up.
I know.
I'm so sorry. We're almost out of time, but for sure, I think that what has trickled out in the feedback that has come around that hopefully the government, think a little more deeply about the intimate interactions of the tourism product and how best to.
I agree with you. I mean, sooner than later, they're going to have to recalculate. They're going to have to reconsider. So I simply want to say before you go, tell people, don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic for this reason. It will change. And it's going to change quick, because the demand, like you said, the demand for this territory, the demand for the type of person that come here, they're not going to be filtering into be filing. They just can't. It doesn't make sense logistically.
It's not going to work. I hold hope. What I would like to see is a full, clear ABC plan once the government is ready to put out their plan towards the opening of the territory that covers every single thing.
It's coming.
Thank you for tuning in with us this week once more. Sam, thank you for coming back. I think we had a really great show, and we'll be back next week with episode. What episode are we on?
3. 2.
We're on episode 2. So we did a 2-part on this. So we'll be on episode 2 Tuesday 20th. Tune in with us And thank you. Have a good night.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.